Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. The 5-0 prospect Tony Yoka, who's the current reigning Olympic champion, will return to the ring this weekend in France after a year out of action. He will face the high-level gatekeeper Alexander Dimitrenko. And for context, the year out of the ring, that was enforced by the French Federation. Yoka had missed drug testing obligations. For one of those occasions that he missed, he was actually in the United States sparring with Joseph Parker. He was allowed to fight outside of France. He was just banned from fighting in France, but he opted not have any fights. He's previously said he wants to bring a heavyweight world title to France, and he wants to campaign in France at this point in his career. So he spent a year out from the outside looking in, not fighting, and he faces Dimitrenko this weekend. And in Dimitrenko, he's facing a guy he will be looking at square in the eyes. Both are 6'7". That will be something that Yoka won't have too often in his career. Even as an amateur, he wouldn't have fought too many guys either the same height or bigger than him. But Yoka, he should have enough to beat Alexander Dimitrenko in this one, but it's important for him that he looks good, and he probably does need the rounds after such a long period out. I think, if he boxes smart and if he looks out for that right hand from Dimitrenko, he should either get a stoppage potentially in the second half of the fight. This is scheduled for 10, or it might go to points and he will get a comfortable points decision. Dimitrenko himself, he's actually coming off 2 losses heading into this one, but it's not against, absolute stiffs. Dimitrenko has lost to Bryant Jennings. That was a late stoppage in that fight, somewhat controversial in the way that one ended, and he most recently fought Andy Ruiz Jr. That was back in April. He lost in 5 rounds. He retired. So this is an occasion for Yoka to actually go in there against a guy who you can still get some credit for fighting in the heavyweight division. I mean, he's 41-5 Dimitrenko. He's a gatekeeper, but sometimes the gate is closed, as he proved against Adrian Granat and also Miljan Rovkanin. So he can upset the odd prospect here and there if you're not good enough, but I don't think that'll be the case in this fight. Yoka, after such a long time out of the sport, needs to come in, look good, look slick, and really put on a bit of a show, because heavyweight boxing is a what have you done for me lately sport, and he's been sitting on the sidelines for a year, and obviously his peers within the heavyweight division have been advancing. You think the likes of Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce, Filip Hrgovic, they are Yoka's contemporaries. They have been, while in his absence, they have been building a profile. Someone like Joe Joyce is actually fighting Bryant Jennings this weekend. So Yoka needs to go in there, make a bit of a statement, even if it is a one-sided points decision, and show the rest of the heavyweight division that he is going to be a factor in the division for the next few years, because I think, people have been sleeping on him because of this absence. People aren't talking about him in the same light that they potentially were a year or so ago. And we have to remember, his last fight was against Dave Allen, and really it was a one-sided performance where he put a bit of a clinic on Allen in terms of a boxing standpoint, and then sort of in that final round against Dave Allen really emptied the tank, let his hands go, and stopped Dave Allen on his feet. Allen wasn't completely happy with that, and after that loss, which Allen went into that fight at short notice, he sort of was feeling disillusioned and was potentially going to retire. That's Dave Allen, that is. But Yoka, actually, for a guy with only 5 fights on his record, has a pretty credible record. You've got Dave Allen, Cyril Leone. You also have Jonathan Rice, which was his 2nd fight. And now for his 6th fight, Alexander Dimitrenko. And when you think that Andy Ruiz Jr. just fought Dimitrenko ahead of his fight with Anthony Joshua, this guy is going places, and this is a pretty good step up in competition at this point in his career, especially after a year out. So I'm expecting to see Yoka, who looking slick, moving like a gazelle, and I think he will have too much for Dimitrenko. He will probably wear him down and wear him out, and I expect either a stoppage in the second half of the fight, because let's face it, Alexander Dimitrenko at a certain point in some fights does seem to almost give up in a split second. It's like he decided that the fight's over, that he doesn't want any more, and that could be the case in this one if he takes a sustained sort of amount of punishment through the fight, or potentially this one will go go the distance, but I'm leaning towards the stoppage here. But for Yoka, it's important to look good, re-announce himself to the heavyweight division, re-announce himself to fans, and get back in people's consciousness that he is going to be a factor in the heavyweight division. He's lost a year now, so he's got to make up for lost time, beat Dimitrenko well, and move on to the next one. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.